I am God. I am Heilung. The ignores snores. Yeah. So, what am I talking about again? Yeah. Well, I've been posting on Facebook. I'm explaining what I've posted on Facebook because it's important. Um, so I posted some music by the group called Heilung, and um, they're known as they sort of they're Norse, Viking, Germanic. Those are the languages that they sing in, and it's all very sort of pagan. They wear antlers on their head on their heads. Um, but what's really interesting, if you look at their their live performance, which they did at in I think 2017 at a place called Castle Fest or something. Um, the thing that you see on stage that they have on the background, they have a sun cross, and so I saw that. It makes me think of it's all connected with the it's all magic. It's a magic thing, and the book of Revelation. There's the second beast. The second beast um, sets up an image to heal. Sets up an image for people to worship. And if they don't worship it, they'll die. So the image is set up, because it's the first beast who has 7 heads and 10 horns. Yeah. And he has a wounded head. Um, Now, the thing is, Heilung is German for healing. Yeah. In German, how would you say the healing? You would say die healing, or you would say die Heilung. Yeah, it's not very, it's strange that, isn't it? So it's a bit awkward, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's a video title. It says Jesus die Heilung. And then Jesus died on a cross. Yeah, it's all very strange, isn't it? So the origin of the sun cross, the symbol, it's very old. So let me show you on my tablet. I'll show you what else is on my tablet, okay? So if I go to my gallery, okay, so that's a sun cross. And the origin of that, well, it's been used in many cultures. Um, and it existed before Jesus Christ was crucified. See, the reason is that this is the thing, it's a source of power. It's a powerful symbol. I mean, if we look at other magic symbols, okay, so this is like Norse, it's like a Norse rune. I don't know what it's called exactly. It's like a stave or something. It's a round thing, isn't it? So let's have a look at it. You notice how it's similar, because the thing is, the sun cross is in there, right? Because if I draw on this, then you won't be able to argue with me about this, because quite clearly it's there. So let me just find an appropriate color and size. I think that should do. So yeah. Okay, so if I draw like this, right? It's a round shape. Yeah, and it's got a cross. Yeah, like that. So it's got the sun cross in there. And then you could say, well, there's another one there as well. So it's like a double cross. But this is the thing. If I go to my internet here, my browser, So if I go back, these are the seals. These, this is this shows the seals of Solomon. Okay, and you can see that there are many that have that style, as you can see down here. Maybe you can see that on the screen. There's one there. There's one there. There's one up here. There's one here. There's loads of them. I mean, there's up here. There's one. Oh, there's one here. One there. They're all over the place. So why do you think that they make them? If you look at the Celtic cross, the thing is, I was born in Scotland. Okay, what does a Celtic cross look like? Let's have a look at that one, shall we? Okay, so for instance, this. What does that look like? Yeah, it looks like a sun cross, doesn't it? It's very similar, except it has different patterns on it. I mean, there are all these different versions, and it's magic. It's witchcraft. It's magic. It's there's lots of different names for it. But for instance, this one. Okay, what's in the center of that? Well, that's a Celtic cross. So it's a Celtic knot. Yeah, it's like a trinity. It's a trinity knot. It's supposed to. I think it's called a Celtic knot, or it's a triquetra or something like that. Um, but essentially, the well, look. Let me have a look. If I search Celtic knot, um, but the thing is, I am Celtic. I am from Scotland. But the thing is, not well. That's the thing. What are we saying? Are we saying it's something that's being tied, or are we saying negative? Like, okay, it's not that. I am Celtic. Um, so the Celtic knot, there are a lot of variations, but as you can see, for instance, this here, yeah. Um, so what's this all about? Why, let me just go to my notepad so I can explain this a little bit better. Okay, do a bit of drawing. So, in fact, if I just zoom in here, look. Okay, so so a sun cross is that. Okay. Now, the thing is well, so what's the origin of that then? So, there are various ideas, right? So it's very ancient. Some people might say, well, perhaps somebody looked at the sun, and when they looked at the sun, the light from it showed a cross-like shape, because the way that, stars shine, when light shines, sometimes it can look like that, or maybe, it'll look like that, or or something like that. The light radiates out, doesn't it? And sometimes it can um sometimes it can look a bit different, I suppose. And someone suggested that perhaps they saw the light like that. So the sun's at the middle, and they saw the light shining out in that sort of direction. I don't think black's probably the most suitable color for showing it, but if I did it in yellow or orange, perhaps it would look a bit more. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that quickly, just for the sake of completeness. Yeah, so there's yellow. Okay, so maybe they saw it like this, yeah? They saw it like that, and the sun was at the center. Okay, but the thing is that, what happens is, because this is how things work, people, this is how magic works. All these people who've made these magic symbols and stuff like that, they've experimented. You know, they've found these things and they found magic power by doing it. And they're like, oh, that gives me a load of magic power, so I'll keep that. Yeah. They think, oh yeah, I'll use that. You know, it's that's how it is. And you know, I've explained in my old videos how I was Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is my past. Okay, and my past, okay, so I'm pa, I'm father, okay, as crucifix. Okay? So, you know, Jesus is actually my past. It's my circle. Yeah? So this is the thing. But you know, so what's the Germanic? So, you know, like I said, I am Heilung. I am healing. I'm God. Okay, so um and obviously well, you know, I'm God. High, you know what high means, yeah? So high, yeah, and you know what lung means. It's really interesting because this morning I woke up with a really bad pain in my right chest, in my right lung, in my well, it seemed the right side of my chest was quite sore this morning, unusually sore. But that's just how these things work with me. You know, I figured a ghost has been attacking me while I've been sleeping, um, but so yeah. Anyway, that's just how these things work. That's how I arrived here to talk about this today. To talk about Heilung and you know, that's German. Well, this is the thing, because I said, you know, Jesus is associated with my ass, right? You know, that's where you find many germs. Yeah? Many germs. Okay? This is magic. And it's the same with Norse, right? Because, you know, people ignore me. And this is the thing, because, you know what it means to turn your back to somebody. Yeah? So I'm God, and obviously, well, my butt is the other side of me, so my back's always turned to it, if you know what I'm saying, in a sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, how can I not do that? That's just how things are, right? The world wants to ignore me. Yeah, you know, so you know what it says in the Bible? It says, you know, it says that the devil speaks his native language, right? So the world wants to ignore me, right? So ignores. You know, I think ig means fire, I think. And Norse, well, there's a language, right? Or it's, yeah, Norse language, right? Norse magic, Norse languages, right? All that Viking stuff. Um, I mean, this is the thing I talked about, Aaliyah Dana Houghton. Yeah, she died when she was 22. 22 is the letter V. Yeah, V-I, King. Yeah, she wants to be a witch. She wants to try to steal the light. She's trying to steal my light, God's light, the light that comes from Jesus dying on the cross. Um, you know, and this is the other thing, right? You know, what happens when, you know, when I go to sleep, I snore, right? So I snore, but you know, if you're sleeping, right? Well, this is the thing, right? Snores, Norse. It's the same sound, right? Norse is in snores, you know? He snores, she snores. Yeah, Norse. Yeah, this is a magic word for people who like to ignore God. I mean, this is the thing, right? So, you know, when you see that band, Heilung, and they're performing on stage, and they've got their sun cross symbol, right? They have no explanation, you know, like, you know, it's you know, people like, you know, there are evil people in this world. They will say, yeah, but these symbols existed before Jesus Christ was crucified. Um, Okay, well, didn't God say, I knew you before you were born? Yeah, so where's it in the Bible? He said, God said, I knew you before you were born. And what did Jesus say? You must be born again. Yeah? I knew you before you were born. You must be born again. Yeah? So what is this, I mean, that's the thing. People who use these types of magic symbols for magic power, yet they have no good explanation for why it's used. And they want to completely ignore the crucifixion of Jesus. They want to be the ignores. Yeah, they want to sleep. Yeah, they want to be Z, 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 Z. Yeah, that's what they want to be. Yeah, you ever heard of Z, Z Top, the band? Yeah, ZZ Top. Yeah, you want to sleep your way all the way to the top. Yeah, you want to ignore God. You want to go to sleep. You want to snore all night. Yeah. Um. So, I mean, and so, I talked about the connection with Germany. Yeah, Germany, because well, that's the thing. My past is what's behind me, right? Past is what's behind, right? And what's behind me is my ass. Um, and so, and obviously, in Revelation chapter 11, it mentions how the crucifixion of Jesus, it was figuratively in the land of Sodom and Egypt, sodomy and bondage. Yeah, that's anal sex. That's talking about the asshole. So, could that be any more clearer for you? Do I have to make that any clearer for you? Um, what more can I say about that? I mean, here's another example, okay? So there's another symbol, another magic symbol, and it's called the Black Sun Wheel. Let me see if I can find it. I had it here a second ago. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of, you see all these different wheels, right? All these circular objects, yeah, with crosses through them. Um, so let me search for the black sun wheel. The Germans used to have this as a symbol during World War II. I've seen evidence to see some of them were using it. But so that's called the black sun wheel. Okay, so I mean, obviously you can see, they look like lightning bolts. It looks like a wheel. It's black. But the thing about the word black, so black has the word back in it. Yeah? So what was I talking about? I was talking about Germany ass. Yeah? So black, this is, these are people who don't worship me, God, through Jesus Christ. They think, this is the thing. The world sees light. The world, when it looks at Jesus, it sees darkness. Yeah? And when, people who are evil, they see darkness as light, and they see light as darkness. Okay? So there's the black, I've talked about the black sun wheel. Okay? And obviously, well, Yahweh, yeah, that's me. That's one of my names. Storm God. Yeah, storm, God. Oh, look, there's my initials backwards. Yeah, I have lightning bolts that shoot out of my arse, basically. I mean, that's the idea behind it, right? Um, it's the peals of thunder that come from the throne of God. Peals of thunder. Yeah, from the throne of God. Yeah. Um, there's an example for you. Okay. So what else can I say about this? I mean, yeah, so Heilung, the band, so they're pagans. They worship Odin. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I am owed. Yeah. The world owes me, right? I'm indoors. Yeah. I'm an in can mean talking about sex as well, right? I'm looking for my bride, right? I want to stick something in. Yeah, I'm owed in. Yeah, I'm Odin. Yeah, another name for Odin is of near or of near, right? Um, this is more magic. Do you know what I mean? Um, you know what I mean? If I stand next to a psychopathic murderer, does that mean they're of me because they're standing next to me? Like, well, do you know what I mean? There's so many different ways of trying to explain that. I mean, I could be here all day trying to explain that one. Um, think of the body of Christ. He's the head of the church. You go into the church, you're supposed to be near, right? Of near, yeah? Of near, yeah? So we've got Odin, there's of near. Um, do you know what I mean? There's so many things I could say. Um, but, where do I want to go with this? I want to smoke my cigarette, actually. See, the thing is that in tarot, um, so if I show you it's called the Chariot card. So the Chariot card. Okay, so the Chariot card. Um, so so this is what the Chariot card looks like in the Rider-Waite tarot deck. And obviously there are wheels. So you can see, this is a magic card. First of all, it's number 7. Yeah? 7 is, the book of Revelation, it talks about the 7 churches. It talks about the 7 spirits of God, right? There's the 7 seals. There's the 7 trumpets, the 7, 7 angels, 7 trumpets, the 7 vials or the bowls of wrath. Or, there's, um, and, anyway, look, you can see, there's the Egyptian sphinxes. Yeah. You know what a sphincter is, right? An anus. This is there's always tarot is all about anal sex magic. That's really what it's about. I mean, you can see this guy. He's got a star. He's got a 6-pointed star around his neck. That's people call that the Star of David. Some people might identify it as the Star of Remphan, but ultimately it's a sex magic star, like I've explained in my other videos. And so, the Chariot card is associated with Cancer, the zodiac sign, Cancer. Now, you might notice there's a lot of people dying of cancer these days. And my mum died of cancer. Um, and so, look, the thing is about the Chariot is it has wheels, yeah? So you see the round, obviously a wheel is round, right? Planets are round as well. There's so many things I could say about this. But the chariot, you see, what it's really talking about, it could be talking about a vehicle, or it could, like a car. It can also be talking about the bed where people have, where someone goes to have sex, right? That's really, this is, tarot is all about sex magic. That's what it's really, I mean, look at, you got the 6-pointed star around his neck. Um, that's all about sex magic. I mean, think about it. So this represents the vagina, and the upward triangle represents the penis. In that the 6-point star, it represents. Sorry, I'll draw that a bit better, but it represents two people who are in the act of sex. The downward triangle suggests the vagina or the feminine, and then the upward pointing triangle, it suggests the male. And the thing about that is that this is, I mean, this star, it also connects to make a cube as well. So so I mean, obviously it's a very badly drawn cube, but it's got a cube in there as well. It represents the 3D, the world. Yeah. So when people, use that as their symbol and they want to worship the, you know what I mean? What does that mean? Where does this stupid thing come from? What's that all about? Where does that come from? Um, um, so, what more can I say here? I mean, this is the thing, right? God said, I knew, um, well, there was, I knew you before you were born. So, what does that really mean? I mean, the fact is that before Jesus Christ came, people, there were all types of religions. They're all different, I mean, obviously, um, that could also mean I knew you when you were dead, or it could mean various things, but essentially, people who ignore me, yeah, they are the ignores. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, people want to steal the power of God through using witchcraft symbols, and then they want to ignore God and pretend that you don't need God, even though you have your stupid fucking sun cross like that. Yeah, and you wonder, people, and this is the thing, I talked about the chariot. Chariot. I mean, think of a bicycle wheel, right? A bicycle wheel. It has spokes, right? Spokes. Yeah. You see, that's a problem, right? Because I'm speaking to you right now, and you're probably ignoring me. Yeah. You want to go ride your bike, or you want to go drive your car. Yeah. Um. I mean, this is the thing, man wants to reduce God to a wheel and then ride around on him and drive around on him. And then tell, say that he doesn't, and he wants to say that he doesn't need God. I mean, also think, so in German, the way you would say the healing, is die Heilung. Die. Yeah? I mean, in German, do you know how you say God? God? God is said, I think it's G-O-T-T. Gott. T. Yeah, look, a big crucifix, yeah? Or you got two there, right? I mean, oh. I mean, the thing is, my name is Gerant. You know, I mean, man, man, yeah, man, yeah, or well, I suppose I got a lot of germs all over me as well. I'm a dirty man, right? I'm a German as well. I think every man's a German, really, if you think about it, right? Um, you know, every human being has germs on their body, don't they? That's just how it goes, isn't it? I mean, there's no escaping that. um, so, there's so many things I could talk about. The world ignores me. I make loads. I mean, let me say that, this is the thing, right? I'm God. The world ignores me. See, the world wants to think that it can ignore me and put me last. So they take priority. So they want to be in front of me. And I'm left at the end by myself. Because this is the thing. The words that come first take priority. What does it mean to come first? Yeah? What comes first? That's the thing. I'm God. I said you're supposed to put me first. Alright? Yeah? Me first. Yeah? Me, the world ignores. Or ignores. Yeah? I mean, this is the thing. Where do you think all their magic power came from? Right? This is what people of the world do. Why do you think Islam is called Islam? Yeah? Islam. Yeah? Why would they call themselves why would they call their religion Islam? And then they say that Jesus is only a prophet. They say Jesus is a prophet. Yeah? And then the world wants to go around trying to make a profit. They want money. Yeah, they want money. Money, money, money. Yeah, they want money. Or they want pounds. They want to have sex. Yeah, pounds, 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 pounds. Yeah. I'm God. If you ignore me, you will die. Isn't it interesting how, oh, look, we've got another battle happening between India and Pakistan now? Yeah? I mean, think about that for a second, okay? So, I don't know how serious that's going to get. Look, India, right? Dia means day. Day is light, right? You know, the sun, yeah, sun, light, day, India. I'm in the house. I'm making a video. I'm talking to you, yeah? Oh, and they want to fight. Pa. Yeah, they want to fight with Pa, don't they? Pa, Ki, Stan. Yeah, Pakistan. And there's a war. Well, there's a war battle. Yeah? You know, these are two nuclear powers. Don't you think it's really interesting? Because, you know, the day before this kicked off, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, of the United Kingdom, this country, we're not talking about Ukraine, right? We're talking about the United Kingdom. Keir Starmer, he went to India to speak to the Prime Minister in India, Narendra Modi, or whatever his name is. And now, and you know, as soon as that happened, a battle started. Yeah? So, this is the problem. If you ignore me, you know, you want to snorse. Yeah, you want to snore. You want to sleep. You want to ignore me. All that's left for you is a fire that burns, and you die in it. What more can I say? You know what's really interesting? So, the leader of that band. So let me show you. So the band, Heilung. I think if we do Heilung Maria. Yeah, so Heilung Maria. So this is Maria Franz. She's the front woman of Heilung. Yeah, Mary, Maria. Yeah, you see those? Yeah. So, you know, what do you prefer? Would you rather be with her? Or would you rather be with God, me? You know, the one who died on the cross, Jesus Christ. I mean, look, if I show you the Heilung Lifa performance, maybe they got a picture here of the stage. Yeah, look, it's here. Yeah, you see the sun cross on the left hand side over here? Yeah? Do you think that they worship Jesus who died on the cross? The Son who died on the cross? No, they don't. Yeah, this is Mary wanting to be worshipped. It's the same. You know, this is something that is observable all around the world. The world worships Mary, and Mary wants to steal the power of God through magic, witchcraft, and the world, the evil world, wants to worship Mary while she does that. And I will destroy this world until I get what I want. You know, I'm healing. I'm God. I am healing. I want to heal. I want to feel better because the world has betrayed me. I've been betrayed by so many people. more than anybody else. And I need to heal. This is the thing. The people can either love me and that will heal me, or I'll destroy you and that will heal me because I'll feel better because you're dead. Yeah? Which one do you want?